5 signs you might still have unhealed trauma from the past. I'm a trauma-informed coach and a thriver as well. So here's some things you can look for. Number 1, if you were to examine your relationships and find that you have mostly one-sided relationships where you are the giver, you're always giving, and your needs are rarely taken into consideration. The reason this can often happen is because if you have trauma from the past and you had unhealthy dynamics in childhood, for example, then you giving and not receiving what you needed is actually familiar, and you can wind up recreating it. Number 2, you battle perfectionism. Maybe you're really hard on yourself, as if no matter what you do, unless it's perfect, it never feels good enough. This is a coping skill that happens when we are in a dynamic where we have caregivers that aren't allowing us to feel like we're enough. So instead of realizing how cruel that their actions are, we wind up feeling more safe to think that the problem lies with us. And so we try harder and harder to please when the truth is that person is simply unpleasable. Number 3, you have a very harsh inner critic. So if you were to pause and listen to what you say to yourself, you'll find that you are constantly criticizing yourself, constantly putting yourself down. This is often because it is the internalized voice of somebody that was abusive to you. Number 4, you get really uncomfortable when somebody else is upset or angry at you, and you feel almost this compulsion to do anything to try to appease that person. This is often the result of, in childhood, being made to feel responsible for the feelings of your caregivers. It's often because of this discomfort that you will often struggle with saying no or having healthy boundaries. And the last thing you want to look for is this belief that you are flawed or that there is something wrong with you. That is a belief that often is instilled in childhood, and if you still feel that, then that belief is still active in your subconscious programs. We all crave healthy relationships, but taking care of these wounds and these symptoms of unhealed trauma is vital if we want to have healthy relationships.